All right, here we go in 3, 2. Welcome to another round of the Roots, powered by our friends at NoFo Brewing. John Nelson here with you. Time to take the tour around the planet, kind of keep you up to date with what's going on. The Wild that ended 2025, that kind of went into 2026. We go to Australia for that. We catch a golazo involving a club based in New Zealand. We look at one of the more odd moments of AFCON as it continues to whittle themselves down to the final 8 in Morocco, and you can catch that on beIN Sports. Details on how you can do that if you don't have beIN coming up here in the show in just a little bit. And also, we'll wrap up with some stuff off the field, some legal, and we'll do that in the SPFL. No, we'll do that in Scotland, and we'll do that in Canada. So this week, it is a trip to AFCON/Gabon. It is a trip to Australia. It is a trip to New Zealand. It is a trip to Scotland, and it is a trip to Canada, as we kind of let you know what's going on here in and around the world of soccer. Just some of the places that we got the chance to visit and find out what's going on this week here on the Roots. So first up is AFCON, and we get to keep an eye on AFCON thanks to our friends at Fanatis, and you can get Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. And what you can do with Fanatis is you can get AFCON, TIC, matches from Argentina, more leagues from across South America, all in one place, one subscription, one home at fntz.co/soccer down here. Once again, that link is important. It helps them, it helps us, and it helps you by adding more matches to everything that you're already watching. And so going into the round of 16, there was one particular country that was not in the round of 16, and it was Gabon. And what happened after Gabon did not make the round of 16, it was odd, to say the very least, because Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang has been banned by the Gabonese, by the national from the national team after their exit from AFCON. They were eliminated from the group stage in what a lot of folks are saying is their worst AFCON outing in program history. So the Minister of Sports announces the suspension of the national team. So it was Sports Minister Simplice Desiree Mambula. Quote, "Given the Panthers' disgraceful performance at the Africa Cup of Nations, the government has decided to dissolve the coaching staff, suspend the national team until further notice, and exclude players Bruno Ekwelemanga and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang." Aubameyang was named alongside the former Cardiff City center back as the two players who were officially excluded from representing their country. First game of the group stage, and they lose 1-0 to Cameroon. Mozambique hands them a 3-2 loss in the second game of the group stage, and then they go on and end up going 0-3 in group and do not make it out. Gabon President Brice Clotaire Oligui Nguema publicly criticized the team after the loss to Mozambique, in which he claimed the loss showed, quote, "the lack of method and the dispersion of resources," quote, as well as, quote, "a worrying erosion of patriotic spirit in the management of sporting affairs." So they had that coming. So they were already eliminated after their first two matches. Final group stage match was against Ivory Coast. They went up 2-0 in Marrakesh. Thanks to goals by Guelor Kanga and Denis Bouanga, they fall apart, concede 3 goals to a rotated Ivorian side, 2 of which came with less than 10 minutes to go in the match. And it was Hoffenheim's 19-year-old winger, Bazoumana Touré, who gets goal number 3. And so the Gabonese government takes action over the national team, gets on the score sheet in Gabon's defeat to Mozambique. Neither Aubameyang nor Ekwelemanga played in that third match, a 36-year-old striker, having already returned to Marseille to begin treatment on a thigh injury. And it was also noted by our friends at Talk Sport that he also arrived late in Morocco because of that thigh strain. So Aubameyang responds on the 280-character app, accusing him of being the problem on the team. His response, by the way, quote, "I think the team's problems are far deeper than the small person that I am." And then he had the shrugged shoulders and palms skyward emoji. Already expected to have played his last match for Gabon, as was 37-year-old Ekwelemanga. And obviously now, since the Gabonese government has said, you can't be here anymore, you can't be here anymore. And so we go to our friends at 97.3 City FM in Ghana. Bernard Okyere is asked the question by the host about this particular move by the Gabonese government, and here's his response.
Mention indefinitely of their national team. Technical team dissolved. Aubameyang banned.
Ben, like I indicate again, this is a cryptic move. It's so awkward. It's strange for me because there's a way to go about this whole football scheme. Yeah, you can blame the players for really not performing, at their maximum, hence the results they churned out. But you look at it critically, there's no need to even set up a committee to look into this matter. When your coach is not good, and we've seen examples here in our fold. We've seen a lot happen where results are, you cannot juxtapose this with the Chelsea example, for example, because it's quite different, But for the Gabon situation, I can't fathom because I feel there should be a way. Maybe the technical team would have. How can you dissolve a national team? How do you dissolve a national team? That's government interference right there. Because, look, yes, the national team depends on the under the ministry under government and all of that. So it's the government that's feeding through the people's taxes into making the national team strong and all of that. But I feel it's a hurried decision. It's a decision that I feel.
Well, it's not hurried really if you look at the context. So let me give you some context. Mm-hmm. Now, they say that after the 3-2 defeat to Mozambique, who are ranked 102nd in the world, they triggered an investigation and basically a review. Like they thought that particular result was just unthinkable. Like they don't understand why they should be losing to Mozambique. So apparently after that defeat, there was. So he says that it was reviewed by the Council of Ministers following Sunday's 3-2 defeat to 102 ranked Mozambique, which meant Gabon could not progress. So after that defeat, when they knew their fate was sealed, they began their processes. So this is not even to do with the Côte d'Ivoire game per se. It's more like they looked at their second game at the competition and said, you know what, this is just unacceptable.
Crazy stuff there. Once again, thanks to our friends at 97.3 City FM in Ghana and to our friends at Talk Sport for topic number 1. As AFCON rolls on, as they get ready for the round of 8, they are halfway through it. Action continues on your Monday. This is The Roots, powered by our friends at NoFo Brewing. John Nelson here with you. Next stop goes to the men's side, and it goes to what happened in the A-League on New Year's Eve. And this comes courtesy of The Guardian and the Australian Associated Press. In the match between Brisbane Roar and Central Coast Mariners, the Brisbane coach was an interim coach. And so the match kind of goes sideways, and you have activity happening late in the first half, and Brisbane is trying to find a way to get points against Central Coast Mariners before the turn of the year. And you end up with this moment happening late in the first half, courtesy of our friends at the A-League their own selves.
Here we go again. And now this is going to be Michael Valkanis, and he could get a second. He's off. Michael Valkanis has been sent off for the ironic clap to Alex King after being shown the first yellow. He's going to remonstrate with the fourth official, Joe Moss. But he goes up the tunnel, Michael Valkanis. 2 yellow cards back-to-back after strong words in the initial. And then you'll just see here, he gives Alex King the ironic clap, and Alex King wants none of it. It is exploding here in Gosford.
When are the fireworks scheduled to start?
They already have. It is continuing on. Matt Simon, the sporting director at the Central Coast Mariners, getting involved as well. There are players and officials being dragged off each other. Don't go anywhere. There is so much to unpack after what has been a huge 45 minutes. Jay O'Shea's still going as well.
So you end up with Brisbane Roar coach Michael Valkanis being sent off after getting a second yellow card. Once again, after he does the sarcastic clapping after he got the first yellow. That was seen by the center ref. Center ref saw it. He's like, nope, I'm not going to be on my watch. Then he ends up giving the second yellow, and that's a red. Valkanis goes up the ramp, and then it spills over into halftime after that. So now it has gotten so bad between Brisbane and Central Coast Mariners. Brisbane is now seeking legal advice after Mariners interim coach Warren Moon gave these comments after the match, courtesy of our friends at the A-League and Paramount Plus.
Well, look, thanks for having me. Firstly, proudly a Brisbane Roar player and coach and been associated with the club for 20 years. And look, I'm just going to be honest and say what I witnessed tonight was a disgrace. They're strong words, and I wish them all the best. They got the points tonight, and they're doing really well, and I wish them all the success for the future. But that was an embarrassment tonight. What happened before halftime and then halftime in the tunnel, and I don't think that's a true representation of Brisbane Roar Football Club.
So what happened? Because we're not there, we don't see
No,
it. So you've opened the can.
Yeah.
Now let the worms come out.
I'm sure
What
it
happened?
will come out. There was police was called, and it's not necessarily to do with Brisbane. Central Coast Mariners. If someone gets sent off, they obviously have to vacate. But look, I'm not going to go into the details except to say I'm really disappointed with what I saw from the conduct of the opposition staff tonight. Having said that, well done to Brisbane. Showed their quality in the key moments, and look, from our perspective, we're really disappointed that the way we fought and fought back in the game, had some chances, and we came away with nothing tonight, which is disappointing.
So what was it about the staff conduct that so irritated you?
Look, I'm not going to say any more on it, Andy. It was there for a lot of people to see tonight. I'm sure it'll all come out in the wash up, but I just think I think there's a responsibility to the game and to people, to both sets of supporters, fans, people inside the room. There's volunteers in there that were in the middle of something that they didn't deserve to be involved in. So we'll leave it there. They were good enough to win the game, and they're doing fantastically well. And so, there's no sour grapes on my part, but I just feel like people should behave in a better way.
Okay, we can talk about the game. You're obviously not going to say any more, but viewers watching have seen you lit the fuse and then walk back from it. So we're just, whatever's going to take place will take place.
Yeah.
You've decided to do that and then not fill in any of the dots. That's your prerogative.
I'm not going to go into the details on it, Andy, because the details aren't for television. But there were things said, things done. I'm just disappointed. But even the conduct on the sideline leading up to that, I think we've got to promote the game a little bit better. People don't need to see that at home.
So the Roar also say that Moon's claims of police involvement were off the mark, once again courtesy of the Australian AP, stating that police were already at the venue as a part of their routine operations. No conduct by Brisbane required police to step in. Moon, who is, by the way, a former player and coach at Brisbane, labeled the halftime conduct an embarrassment and a disgrace after Brisbane won 2-1 in that particular match. So Brisbane's Justin Vidic heads home a 92nd minute winner to set off the celebrations. But once again, you end up with Michael Valkanis having been given the red card. You end up with that particular moment. Roar released a statement denying they did anything to bring the game into disrepute. Quote, Brisbane Roar Football Club is aware of comments made by Central Coast Mariners interim head coach following last night's match, which he publicly insinuated serious misconduct by the club and its staff. Those comments were inappropriate, irresponsible, and unsupported by facts. At no time did Brisbane Roar Football Club, its officials, or its coaching staff engage in conduct that brought the game into disrepute. Any suggestion otherwise is categorically rejected. The public reference to police involvement was also misleading. Police were already present at the venue as part of routine matchday operations. No conduct by Brisbane Roar Football Club or its personnel required police intervention. Given the seriousness of the insinuations made and the reputational harm caused to the club, Brisbane Roar is seeking legal advice in relation to the comments. Football Australia said it would investigate the issue as part of its regular match review panel review, and those findings are set to come out in the next couple of days. Australian Professional Leagues, which runs the A-League competition, said it would support the review led by Football Australia. So we'll keep an eye on that and see how things currently will lay themselves out as you go forward here with the A-League men in their competition now having turned into the 2026 season. So remember earlier in December, the men's players' patience, once again, you have the APL facing a lot of issues according to a union report, and so we're keeping an eye on that as well. But keep an eye on what's going on with Central Coast Mariners and with the Brisbane Roar. And we'll find out what happens after the review and what Football Australia has to say about the incident going forward. Right now, in the 12-team league, it is Auckland FC after 10 matches. You are at 20 points, and they are a point ahead of Sydney FC, 2 ahead of Brisbane Roar. MacArthur FC is also at 18 points, but they're behind in goal difference. Then you have Melbourne Victory, Newcastle Jets, Adelaide United, Melbourne City, Wellington, Phoenix, Perth Glory. Central Coast Mariners are 11th of 12, and they have 11 points on the season, 2 points ahead of Western Sydney Wanderers, who are currently last in the league. And so, speaking of the A-League and what is going on with A-League women, we had this moment happen in the Wellington-Phoenix match the other day. You're at 90+8. And here's what happened for Phoenix as they tried to salvage a point at the end, courtesy of our friends at Paramount Plus.
Gives it some height. Gives Fryer something to chase. Leon turning. Swerving away from a couple. And none. This is a tricky one. Oh! It's deceived Lincoln. And Brooke Nunn may well have salvaged a point for Wellington Phoenix. Well, the championship winner last year with the Mariners showing her championship qualities there. Well, you just knew it was a tricky one. It was spinning, it was swerving awkwardly. Lincoln tried to punch. She's had a fresh air swing. An absolute disaster for Brisbane on a night where they've worked so hard for their lead, and it's been extinguished.
So the Phoenix putting 7 past Sydney. Wellington got their best ever win. Sky Blues get their worst ever defeat. That was 2 weeks ago. So right now, as Wellington has the cross shot work its way into the back of the net, points, Canberra United up top after 10 matches. They are at 18 points. Melbourne City has 3 matches in hand, by the way, and they're at 16 points. Melbourne Victory are also at 16 points, 10 matches played, and behind in goal difference. Central Coast is 4th. Wellington Phoenix is 5th, followed by Perth Glory, Brisbane Roar, Adelaide United, Newcastle Jets, Sydney FC, and Western Sydney are in the bottom of the table after 9 matches played, 1 win so far, and 5 total points. This is The Roots, powered by our friends at NoFo Brewing. John Nelson here with you as we kind of take a tour around the world and we let you know what's going on, some of the moments of the past week, some of the stories that you need to know, and just to let you know with what is happening in the Oceania, we are keeping an eye on the OFC Pro League, and we will be keeping a really close look at the league as their kickoff happens next weekend. And so we'll have interviews all season long. We're going to hopefully have some previews for you from a league perspective and from national team perspectives leading into the competition for its first ever league play. And we'll see what it's like to launch a league from scratch. After all of this time, finally a league is being launched, and so the OFC Pro League will keep an eye on that, and we will let you know what's going on there as things continue to evolve. Next stop, it is for activity in Scotland. And for Hamilton Academical, it got really bad. And it was a situation where Hamilton had been relegated from the SPFL to League One last season after receiving a 15-point penalty for a number of transgressions, according to our friends at the BBC, including the non-payment of players, issues over the ownership of the stadium, and player registration. So they're relegated after last year to Scottish League One. They were docked another 15 points this season, and players considered not playing this past weekend because of unpaid wages, and they were looking to field a weekend squad Saturday. Here was what the conversations were like in an interview with the head coach of Hamilton Academical, and the sheer thought of knowing that you had to play, and then still going out there and giving your best. Here was the conversation with Darian McKinnon, the interim head coach for Hamilton Academical, as the Ackies were facing all of this in League One.
Daz, it's obviously been another difficult week here at the club, and a week that I assume has been full of a lot of really tough conversations for yourself and obviously the staff and the players. Can you give us a little bit of an insight into what this week has been like for you?
It's been horrible. It's tough to look the players and staff in the eye, and I can't guarantee them they're going to get paid. I've been round them all individually. I've tried to do everything I can. Unfortunately, I've not got all the answers. I'm just trying to support them as best I can and keep the place going.
We've seen it obviously a few times this season with players not being available through injury and stuff, but we seem to be in a different situation now where, because none of us have been paid, you're doing your best to try and get an 11 on the park. What is that current situation? What update can you give on that ahead of the game tomorrow?
Ahead of the game tomorrow, I guarantee we'll have a team on the pitch. What that looks like, I'm not willing to say on camera at the press or anything, but we'll have a team on the pitch. Everybody's put themselves forward. I've protected some. I'm not really willing to go into specifics on it, but we'll have a team on the park.
And tomorrow, we've said it countless times this season and last, just how important the fans have been, just how important they will be. But tomorrow feels a little bit different. Tomorrow feels like we're going to need them, and they're going to need us as well. What message would you have to the fans ahead of the game tomorrow?
I would just hopefully ask them to turn out in their numbers. We need them more than we've ever done in my full time at the club. I've been here since I was 23, 24, and this feels like a critical time in our history. I know all the stuff that's happened through the last couple of seasons has led to some staying away, but anybody that can make the game, please turn up. It's the first time in my professional career I don't care about the result on the park. I just want whoever we get on the pitch to go and enjoy it, represent the club, get back to what we used to be as a club, fighting, scratching, running, and if that gets us the 3 points, I'll be delighted. But I can't be any more clearer. This is a critical time for us. Hopefully we can come through it. I'm gutted that I'm here in this situation, but it's been an ongoing thing for the last couple of years, and now it's came to a head, and now we need to try and come out the other side of it. We are positive.
So as it turns out, because of the frigid temperatures that postponed a lot of matches in English League One and League Two on the weekend, it was the match with Hamilton Academical, and their match at home to East Fife was postponed because of a frozen pitch. After that, you now have a lifeline in the form of Morley Sports Management Group. They've bought 97.5% of the shares from Serif Zengin, who the Scottish FA last month, by the way, ruled was not a fit and proper person to hold a position within football. And so the club owners for Kimbrough Premier's Haverfordwest County, they now own it. Morley Sports Management. We're going to catch up with the folks in charge at Morley Sports Management Tuesday morning, 10 o'clock Eastern Time on SDHAM. We're going to find out about their purchase of Hamilton Academical, what they see in the property, what they see in the club, and what they'd like to accomplish here. Obviously, the end of this League One season, hopefully have a shot at possibly getting promoted back into the SPFL. But we're going to keep an eye on what's going on with Haverfordwest County's owners, Morley Sports Management, as they now have all but 2.5% of the shares of Hamilton Academical. So Hamilton Academical, the Ackies now have an official lifeline, and we'll find out what MSM has in mind for the Ackies on Tuesday morning on SDHAM. So we'll see what happens there and how they plan to proceed. Right now in League One, by the way, when it comes to the table as we know it, it is. We'll take a quick peek at the League One table just to let you know what it's looking like in League One. So right now it is Hamilton Academical. After 19 matches, they are 8th in League One, which is you have the Premiership, the Championship, and then you have League One and League Two. So this is the third level of the pyramid in the SPFL. Stenhouse Muir is on top at 34 points. Inverness Caledonian Thistle is at 33. They have been deducted 5 points as per SPFL rules on clubs suffering an insolvency event. And we mentioned the 15 points that Hamilton Academical have been deducted this year. Breaches of multiple rules and 9 points following the disciplinary tribunal. It's subject to appeal. Don't be surprised if now that you have this ownership with Morley Sports Management, if some of those points go away on appeal. And so now that you have the stable ownership that has passed standards and practices, don't be surprised if Hamilton Academical is closer to Montrose. They're 8 points behind 7th place Montrose right now in the League One table. So we'll see if this is the beginning of turning things around for Hamilton Academical. Right now, they are 18 points behind Stenhousemuir and 17 behind ICT, 15 points behind Queen of the South, and 14 behind Aloha Athletic. And so that is the long slog right now with Hamilton Academical as they continue to work their way back up the ladder with new ownership. And so we're looking forward to catching up with MSM on Tuesday morning for SDHAM. One last thing before we go, and it goes to the Canadian Premier League. And it is a lawsuit that has come to the, however you want to phrase it, the public knowledge, and it comes from a former head coach of Vancouver FC. And the former coach, Afshin Gotbi, is claiming that he is owed $716,000 in an alleged loan default. Karen Larson at the CBC had the story here. And Gotbi says that Vancouver FC is refusing to pay the principal and the interest on a $500,000 loan. The former head coach suing team ownership extended to the club more than 2 years ago this loan. Gotbi says in a notice of civil claim that 6'5 Sports and Entertainment and managing partner Dean Shillington owe him just under $716,000 in principal and interest. Gotbi was named Vancouver FC's first coach back in 22, and according to his notice of civil claim and the league, the club and Gotbi mutually decided to end their professional relationship last summer. Gotbi's claim alleges Vancouver FC ownership was dishonest, that's the word in the lawsuit, and met demands for repayment of his loan with, quote, excuses, justifications, and requests for more time, end quote. The defendants never had, nor do they presently have, any intention to repay the $500,000 loan plus interest, reads the claim. None of the allegations have been tested in court. Responses have not been filed by the defendants. 6'5 Sports and Entertainment emailed a statement to the CBC, quote, we will not litigate Mr. Gotbi's claim in the media, and we'll proceed with the usual court process to establish the facts and applicable law regarding the loan. This matter has no impact on the ongoing management of the business or 6'5's continued investment in the growth of professional soccer in Canada, end quote. Gotbi claims that in July of 2023, 6'5 director Rob Friend said Vancouver FC was experiencing cash flow problems, asked if he'd be willing to help the team financially. After speaking with Shillington, Gotbi agreed to advance a $500,000 loan at a rate of 12% per annum and a repayment date of July 14th of 2024. According to the claim, Gotbi says the terms of the loan gave him priority repayment as a creditor, meaning he'd be first in line for a payout. Says in the claim that without that specific condition, he never would have handed over the $500,000. Claim says as July 2024's repayment day approached, Shillington told Gotbi that Vancouver FC still needed his money, asked to extend the repayment date at an increased rate of 20%. According to the lawsuit, Gotbi agreed because he, quote, did not want to cause Vancouver FC financial hardship, end quote. Says the terms of the renewed loan included that it would be repaid on Gotbi's demand. When he resigned as coach in 2025, he requested his money plus interest. That's when he learned from Shillington, according to the CBC, he was not a priority creditor, according to the claim. In the months that followed, Gotbi says he discovered of his own accord 2 entities controlled by Shillington, Knightsbridge Capital Property Finance Incorporated and KAPX Finance Inc., both had registered security interest against the club that ranked higher in priority, according to the lawsuit. Back on October 15th, Shillington advised Gotbi the $500,000 loan plus interest could not be repaid. In a statement emailed to the CBC, Shillington said he, quote, categorically disagrees with the allegations asserted against me personally. 6'5 engaged in discussions in good faith to explore a potential resolution. Those discussions were conducted on a without prejudice basis as a part of settlement efforts. To the extent the claim improperly references or relies on those discussions, such use is disputed, he wrote, end quote. The lawsuits, once again, you have that in addition to everything going on in the CPL, you had Pacific FC of Langford put up for sale. Last month, Valor announced it was ceasing operations after amassing millions of dollars in debt. Senior Director of Communications for the CPL, Laura Armstrong, said, quote, "Club strength continues to be a priority as we prepare for the upcoming season. This matter will not affect the operations of Vancouver FC or Pacific FC," end quote. So we'll keep an eye on that, the lawsuit, and the new CPL season. We'll see what happens with this news that has been brought forth by Karen Larson at the CBC. That is a new round of the Roots. If we're missing a story, let us know about it here at SDH. And we want to continue to share what's going on in and around the world with all of you. And we will do so every single time here at the Roots, powered by our friends at NoFo Brewing. So if you've got a story that you think we need to chase, let us know. Reach out to us on social media or shoot us an email at soccerdownhere@gmail.com. And we will see what we can do when it comes to letting everybody know what's going on in and around this great big world of ours and the beautiful game. So for everybody here at SDH, I'm just John. Thanks for dropping by and being a part of the Roots. Play it safe, everybody. We'll see you next time.